hello! Job Top Gun would like to congratulate all new graduates who've just completed a long period of study. And today, your life is about to step into another timeline of working life, which takes almost 40 years, before the retirement at the age of 60. Job Top Gun will be walking along with you in this process to set you up for a bright future. Today, we will give you some tips and advice for looking for a job. However, first, please take a few moments to consider a few easy questions. Do you know what kind of jobs you would be good at and enjoy? Do you know how to maximize the chance at finding your ideal job? And above all, who wants to be left behind without a job as friends all start careers? Oh, we knew it! We would like to give you some advice, help you find the perfect job. Together with an insight into the criteria HR invariably used for recruitment. If you prepare yourself well in a job search, the chance of you getting a job you want will escalate. Let's see. HR typically considers 4 main factors when selecting candidates for recruitment. These are 1. GPA 2. Competencies 3. Experience 4. Attitude. Let's look at each item in turn. 1. GPA. GPA is very important, but it is not the only factor. Most people think that institutes and GPA are all HR will take into consideration when recruiting candidates. As a result, those with high GPAs may be over self-confident, especially if they come from an elite university and think they can have first choice of any job and company. Meanwhile, those with low GPA are nervous and afraid of not getting a job. Of course, GPA is significant because it provides evidence of commitment and diligence as a student. A high GPA also indicates potential for good understanding of the job and structured thinking. It is true that the better the GPA, the better chance. However, GPA is only one of 4 factors that HR will consider for recruitment. Now you feel better? So, let's go to the items 2, 3, and 4. 2. Competencies. Although you may have graduated from the best institute with a high GPA, you should not be overly confident. Those who are good at studying may not always be good at working. Those with high grades do not always possess good decision-making, negotiation, or relationship-building skills. These skills and other competencies needed for working are not necessarily demonstrated by your institutes or GPA. However, these competencies are all important elements, and often they are more important than academic knowledge. For instance, Mr. A has a better GPA than Mr. B. This means Mr. A has more knowledge than Mr. B. However, if Mr. A does nothing other than studying in classes, it is possible that his social skills, for example, decision-making, negotiation, or relationship building, may not be as good as those of Mr. B. If so, Mr. B has a better chance of getting a job, since knowledge is quite easy to find. For example, searching with Google or asking the experts. To summarize, knowledge alone will not determine who has the best chance at getting a job. It depends on who has the most relevant competencies. Competencies are based on an individual's background, such as family, or friends, can be developed and demonstrated through any situation. You can see in Top Gun's strength a list of 101 abilities which are not based on study. These abilities can be demonstrated through music, sports, and hobbies. What you are fond of or good at. These abilities are indicators of how you have been trained. These abilities may not be ready to be immediately applied in the world of work. The step to enhance these abilities is the next item. 3. Experience. Experience adds value to you. It prevents time wasting and damage from trial and error. With experience, you can start working immediately without wasting so much time on the learning curve. Companies will choose those with relevant experience first. This is because if you have been previously exposed to different situations, you are more likely to efficiently get the appropriate solution. If you have to start with trial and error, not only may some damage be caused by this, but you may have to spend days, weeks, or months, or even years to learn something. This means those with experience are more likely to add value in less time than those without experience. The experienced are many times more valuable than the inexperienced. That's why companies prefer to recruit those with experience rather than those without. Hence, new graduates with limited experience, you should not overestimate the impact of your academic knowledge, institute, and GPA. The minimum legal salary for new graduates is 15,000 baht. But with experience, that amount can increase to millions of baht. So what should you look for is the opportunity from a good company to develop skills and accumulate experience, which will in turn advance your career and allow you to become an expert in that field. Now, the last item. 4. Attitude. Those who have done well academically may not always have a positive attitude. This is important because employees with a good attitude are more likely to enjoy their work and more dedicated to the job. These workers will see everything with a positive outlook. In a sales job, for example, some staff may feel discouraged once they are unsuccessful in making a sale. In contrast, others may see that rejection as a challenge and try their best to find a way to finally make a sale. That's the way to achieve the real pride. Besides, a good attitude will foster a positive atmosphere in the company. Therefore, companies look for those with a positive attitude. We have a simple job interview to show you. What different attitudes HR can see from different answers. New graduates often think that they are the ones who can choose the job, not the ones to be chosen. This is typically reflected in interview answers. For example, the company may ask you, "Do you think you will work with us for at least 2 years?" Applicant A: "I can't tell you now. It depends on whether I like the job or not." Applicant B: "I don't think so. I have graduated from the best university, so I think I will have more options." Applicant C: "Yes, I do. If the company gives me a chance, I feel I must repay the company too." Applicant D: "Yes, I do. No matter what happens, I am willing to do my best to contribute to the success of the company." Now we will analyze the answers and see what the company is thinking. Applicant A appears rather self-centered. The duration of work depends on his own preference, not realizing that if the company gives him an opportunity, they would want him there for at least 2 years. The company may not want applicant A because even he himself does not know whether he likes the job or not. In reality, all jobs have challenges, and applicant A is likely to dislike the job once he comes across any problems and is likely to quit at the first sign of difficulties. Applicant B has graduated from a high-profile institute and thinks he can choose any job. However, there are many other graduates from prestigious institutes in a similar position who think that they are the ones waiting to be chosen. They would be glad if the company offers them a chance to work because they realize that they have limited relevant experience and no proven track record of performance. Compared to committed applicants such as applicants C and D, it is unlikely that applicant B would be offered the position despite the profile of their institutes. HR is likely to prefer applicant C, who appreciates the opportunity and wants to return something back to the company, and applicant D, who is looking forward to the challenges ahead. The answers of the 4 applicants represent different attitudes to work. Consider which answer you would choose. Our tip to you is that HR will ultimately select the candidate they like, and that candidate is invariably the one with a good attitude. The 4 areas we have just discussed give you a flavor of the main factors on which the recruitment is based. For those of you with good grades, the job is not yet complete. For those of you with less good grades, there are other important factors, so do not give up. At this point, some of you may wonder what kind of resume will catch the interest of HR and get you called in for an interview. Of course, it is generally not a resume that focuses only on educational background, and that does not represent other aspects. Today, we will introduce a unique, impactful, and effective resume called Superresume. Superresume will allow you to capture your potential to employers while reflecting your personal identity, and all your relevant qualifications and experience will be immediately evident to those reviewing your resume.
So, do you want to know more about Superresume? If so, see me Pan in session 2. I will show you how to effectively develop your resume using Superresume. See you in a moment.
You can choose a job just before you apply, but not after you enter the interview room. Be the one who asks for opportunity and appreciate the opportunity given to you. Once you have found that opportunity, be committed to it. Remember that if you have no relevant experience, the company has to invest a lot in training you. No company would be willing to do this unless you are committed to stay there for at least 2 years. Choose the job carefully. Once you've got it, be committed and do not change the job for at least 2 years. This will demonstrate your professionalism and will keep your work records in a good shape. Good luck to you all! Job Top Gun!